Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let me just make sure everything looks good on the channel. Today we're going to do two cases, previous cases, and that's Jelani and Davohnte Morgan. So just bear with me. If you're new to the channel, please like the video, have a look at the entire channel, and see if there's any videos that interest you. Have a look and give a like, and please subscribe. Okay, so let's see here. Just want to make sure everything is good on the channel. All right, yeah. So we are recapping, or I'm recapping Jelani and Davohnte's reading. I did them previously on a previous channel. So we'll start with Jelani. You guys should see his picture here. Sure. Yep, his picture's up. Okay. So Jelani went missing on August 24th of 2021. He was last seen at a marijuana dispensary in another town. So this is what they're saying is where he was last spotted. The last place was the Beyond Hello recreational marijuana dispensary on Veterans Parkway in Bloomington. A day later, his car was found more than 60 miles north in a wooded area near Peru, Illinois. Weeks went by until law enforcement found Jelani dead along the Illinois River by Peru on September 4th, and it took even longer for the coroner to confirm his identity and the cause of his death, which they say was drowning. Now, his mom said that he was a proficient swimmer and had been, since he was old enough to swim. So drowning shouldn't have been the issue. So while police said there's no evidence suggesting anyone was with Jelani at the time of his death, his mother, Carmen Bolden Day, still believes a crime was committed. And so what I'd like to do is read what the coroner said, because this is very important. All right. So questions remain about what happened today before his body was found. Plock wrote, who was the, I guess, a forensic examiner, stated that the remains were in a condition that were less than optimal because of decomposition and the activity of river predators in warm water. There was no evidence, according to him, of any pre-death injuries such as manual strangulation, an assault or an altercation, sharp, blunt, or gunshot injury, infection, tumor, natural disease, congenital abnormalities, or significant drug intoxication. According to the family, there were at least 2 autopsies, one by the coroner's office and one by an independent private pathologist that the family has hired. The latter has not released any findings. So, Jelani's mother said that she disagrees with the coroner's report. So even the private examination, they never released the findings. So it may have been the same findings. We don't know. I don't know that for sure. I'm just speculating. So let me tell you what my impressions were. I saw Jelani getting along, having a really good friend with a girl at school who was more like I feel like she was like a mentor or an RA. She worked with, like, she was a full-time student, but then like became part-time, but was really active in leadership or guidance roles on campus with other students. Now, Jelani was a master's student at Illinois State University, and I believe he was studying to get into the sciences, you know. Um, and he was a great student, by all accounts. He was wonderful, grades were high, everything was good. Um, And so, but he had this friend, completely platonic friend. She had blonde hair. It was like a shoulder bob with a black streak and a purple, like purple and a black streak on what would be the left side of her head. Really nice girl, by all accounts. What I saw was that she was um, she was more than willing to help, Jelani with, study guides and that sort of thing, because Jelani was a hard, worker as a student. No qualms at all, but I guess there was some concerns with his focus or being able to maintain his focus with the studying and all of that. And not so much that there was like an ADD issue, but it's more of the load, the coursework and the load, and trying to be more superhuman than human. I mean, it's really impossible, um, to ingest all of that information. I mean, we're only human, right? But one the impression I got was that he felt like he needed something to assist him to be more proficient in consuming information because it was such like a heavy course load, or um, just when you're in school and you're being drilled so hard, with education, it's a lot of information. I know this from being in the healthcare field. You just get bombarded, bombarded, bombarded. There's tests every week and that sort of thing. So it's a lot. So she somehow along the way, there was an introduction of a substance that would help him focus. It wasn't used often. It was just like, whenever he felt like it was necessary. So the day of the dispensary, he was meeting her and her partner, and the partner had issues. Like this was like he was a total opposite of her. He had a history of like drug running, guns running, that sort of thing. And they all three of them, met up after the dispensary. But before I go any further, let me just tell you, like, I tried to do my initial reading for him, which was a few years back. He specifically asked me not to say certain things, and I respected it. Right, I respected it. And then I came back like a year later, and he seemed to be in a good place, and he was like okay with it because I think he felt like he was around his family, and things were just he felt better about certain things being disclosed. So in this reading, I'm gonna be, respectful, of course, but um, I just wanted to make it known that he was apprehensive. He was really concerned about how his family would feel about, this information coming to light. He really cared about what they thought about him. He was very conscious. It meant so much to him, that he was always seen in a light that was favorable. And it's not that he was an unfavorable guy. He just, there's just certain things, Here's a guy that's going to school. He's beat a lot of the odds. He's in a master's program in the sciences, and he's trucking along, doing everything he's supposed to do. But he just needed help with, focus stuff, so anyway, so that was the first attempt. I did that reading, and then I came back later. Like I said, it seemed like he was okay. So what I see happen was that they all had gotten together, and there was something added to the marijuana, and he had a reaction. So what I saw was that this was not a hate crime. This was not a race thing. This had nothing to do with racism or a sundown town or nothing. None of that. He had a reaction to a substance that was provided by the boyfriend. So in essence, the girl, her boyfriend was the one that was providing it to her, but she wasn't trafficking it. It was just like a thing of, oh, well, maybe this will help. And, I get it from him and, that sort of thing. So that's what I saw happen. They panicked and they staged, they dumped the car, they staged the car, they put him where they put him. And that's why there was no trauma. And them reading it as a drowning was because he may not have been entirely deceased. He may have still have been breathing, maybe at like a lower a pace. And so when they put him in the water, then there was water in his lungs because he was still breathing to an extent. But they panicked and were because the boyfriend is a train wreck too, who's probably deceased by now. Because I remember on my other channel, I did an update on him, and he was in bad shape. I mean, it looked like he had something maybe even along the lines of full blown AIDS, like the pitted skin looked really bad. And he would go between Illinois and Indiana running guns, mainly guns, not so much drugs, even though he had access to it. He was more of a gun runner, and there may have been a warrant out for him or something. So when this happened, they both panicked and they staged this, and then they placed him in the water. So I guess they should have known that he was an avid swimmer and that would be suspicious. But so instead of calling emergency services, I feel like this guy that she was with was pretty much manipulating the whole thing and just dominating the situation, because I feel like she wanted to do the right thing. She wanted to call somebody, but they both panicked. And and I believe that's what happened. That's what I've seen. I've seen this every time I've looked into this case, that there was a female that had some sort of leadership role, like as far as student affairs, you know what I mean? So like, RA status or something, and that she was going full time, but ended up coming back part time. Um, and she's well known on that campus. So again, the description: a white female, Norwegian background. So I guess, if we're looking at her name, maybe we'd look at a traditional Scandinavian name. Um, Black streak with purple streaks and blonde hair, a blonde bob that sat on her shoulders, not under her ears, on her shoulders. Okay. And she got along with everybody, outside. She's a great person. She would have been a great person, but she's dealing with somebody that was a total train wreck. And whatever they gave him or offered him, caused a reaction. And so it was the substances, and he was in the company of people he trusted at the time. And so when we look at the coroner's finding, they say that there's no drugs in here. Let me go back to it. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen. Hold on one second, guys. So they talk about okay, hold on one second, guys. Remove that. I'm new to this StreamYard thing like this. All right, so let me somehow maneuver the other side. So when we talk about, all of the issues with, like, again, the forensic examiner wrote that the remains were in less than an optimal condition due to decomposition and the activity in the warm water. So could he have consumed something that didn't stay in his system very long? Did these conditions help to dissipate to where they didn't find this substance? I don't know how long this particular substance stays in the body. But this is what I got, that it was and then it specifically says significant drug intoxication. So when you're looking at fentanyl poisoning, it doesn't take a lot to harm somebody permanently. It doesn't take a lot at all. It's a very small amount that could harm somebody. So again, that's what I got. It was a reaction to a substance. He met up with a familiar who had a boyfriend that provided things, who was also a train wreck. And again, I believe that guy's deceased, because at the time of that reading, which was like a year and a half ago, when I did the update for Jelani's reading, I talked about this guy. I already felt like he was on his way out because he looked really, really bad. And so that's what I got. So no race stuff here, no Emmett Till thing, nothing like that. With all due respect to those that believe that this was. Um, so, and he's in a good space. He was in good space the last time I read him. So I think he's fine. And, just want to give him some, send him some good vibes and send the family some good vibes. And, I hope he's walking with them, connecting. He should be connecting with them. But so that's it for Jelani. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up Davohnte stuff. So just bear with me and I'll get his stuff up here. Okay. So I'll just talk my way through while I'm doing this. And um so Davohnte went missing from the Mount Shasta area. I'm sorry about the mouth sounds, guys. I'm sorry. It's not on purpose. He went missing May 5th of 2020. He went to Mount Shasta with his girlfriend, who was 20 years his senior. She was a metaphysician, um, into a lot of spiritual stuff. That's why they were there. She was supposedly like some sort of like personal life coach. And um, they went up there. Now they had a tumultuous relationship. They fought a lot. She drugged him in Lake Tahoe. It's reported before they went to Lake Shasta. So there's so that relationship has some serious issues, and so there were definitely some issues. So the morning of the situation, they supposedly, according to the girlfriend, they got locked out of the hotel room because they were up arguing because she says that Davohnte woke her up to go out to smoke a cigarette. And so they started arguing. And this is what caused the contention of the day, that day. So I'm going to pin some interviews below once the video is done processing, and some links for you guys to catch up. And now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you what I found. What I found basically, not what I found, but the impressions I got was that the girlfriend had picked him up because he had been walking around the town, which was documented. He was on videotape. He had come across a postal worker. So, he could be seen walking around town. And they rented a car while they were up there. And she picked him up. Now, I guess she had been telling people that she had never been up there to Mount Shasta, and they found that to be not true. So she already had like roots up there. She already had people that she knew up there. She knew her way around up there, allegedly. And um, bear with me, guys. I have to get another picture because the other one, StreamYard will not allow me to attach. So let's see if this works. Happy Friday, by the way, guys. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Okay, let's see here. So they rented a car. They had access to a vehicle, and um, what I saw was that she picked him up. She found him. She drove around. She picked him up and gave him something. She gave him a substance to drink, just like she did, and just like she did in Lake Tahoe. This is what I saw, and whatever she put in it, it wrecked his stomach. And when she picked him up, she had this concoction with her that she gave to him. But they had driven out, so she took him out somewhere by a lake. She took him out somewhere secluded by a lake. And this is the point that I'm making, is that she knew her way around that area. She had been there before. And when he started having symptoms, when he was in distress from the stuff she gave him, He started crying. He was trying to vomit. It just made him. It was extremely painful, and it wrecked him. It was like drinking acid, like just straight acid. All right, I'm almost here. And and that's what I saw. I saw him crying and begging for his life on the ground. Like she took him somewhere. They got out of the car, and you know how sometimes there's like big logs that kind of prevent cars from pulling in. I saw him in front of one where you could even sit down on one of them, but I saw him in front of one, and for some reason, guys, I can't get this picture going. And he was just tortured. He was he was in agony. I mean, literally, like this was like acid. Um, and he was crying and he was like, begging for help. And it was, I mean, when I first got this impression, it was I've never seen it or felt anything like that before in my life. It was um really a horrible thing to see and feel somebody's pain that way. But it was absolutely terrible. Um, and she left him there. She left him there to whatever happened to him. Um, and I feel like too that she wasn't really alone in this. Like she definitely had some help, but the details of those individuals weren't so prevalent. I just feel like she wasn't alone in this because she had been there before and she had roots there. So she harmed him allegedly. This is what I've seen very clearly. She gave him something that was intended to harm him, and it did. And they drove out to this area. It was a body of water, and um, he got out of the car. She got out of the car, and by the time this thing started taking effect, I mean, it just crippled him. He was like on the ground, um, crying and just in agony. Here we go. I got a picture, guys. I got a picture. There we go. There's Davohnte. Um, and it was just terrible. Absolutely terrible. So that's what I'm getting for Davohnte. And I sure hope they get justice. I sure hope they get justice. The girlfriend, it's sad because there seems to be like this hands-off approach to this person who has lied, has according to the family, has lied about things and has portrayed herself as family members and things like that. Just really bizarre things. Um, this happened not so. I mean, it's been it'll be 5 years this week, but it's not that far back to where they couldn't get a real investigation going, but they really need to be looking at her. So by all accounts, I heard this. He was a good person. He was a victim of a drive-by shooting. Probably mistaken identity, or he wasn't the intended target. He was really in the church, that sort of thing, but he met this person and just kind of went off the rails. And I also feel like well, not went off the rails as in, I think that because she was like into pagan worship and metaphysics and that sort of thing, and he came from a traditional um church background, there may have been a need for him. He may have felt a calling to convert her or to dispel her belief system, which really doesn't align with traditional Abrahamic belief systems, specifically Christianity. So there may have been an urge or a calling, or that could have been why they fought so much or they bumped heads. So there could have been a lot of underlining tension, mainly because of that, because of the religious and spirituality difference. And so that poisoning, which happened before when she gave him euphoric substances, and to the point where when his mom said she called him, he definitely didn't seem like he was himself. Like it was a totally different, something very unfamiliar to her. Wasn't characteristic of him at all. She said it was great. He was traveling places and going places with the girlfriends, but ultimately, it was like she had pulled him um, into areas in a way to where he was vulnerable, because ultimately he was vulnerable, um, up in that area of Mount Shasta. Had no friends or family up there or anyone close by that he could have gone to, seeing that they were fighting or they had these issues. So, very tragic situation, unfortunate. I hope the family gets justice. I hope Davohnte gets justice in this situation, because the images that I saw was just horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And this person needs to be dealt with. um, this person needs to be dealt with based on what I see allegedly. So this is a horrible situation. And that's just my opinion, not encouraging violence, but this is what it is. So thank you for tuning in, guys. This will do it for Jelani Days and Davohnte Morgan's recap readings, and we'll see you in the next video. Please like the video and subscribe for more content. Take care.